The following program is brought to you by Lēo TV, the People's Platform.
Aloha mai kākou, and welcome to the 2026 opening day of the Hawaiʻi State Legislature. Lēo TV is back here at the Capitol, and this year we're doing something fun. We've invited ʻōpio from Kealakehe High School and partnered with Evalu Industries to launch Create Hawaii, a pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship program for local youth interested in pursuing careers in creative media. Our students were able to interview elected officials about what matters most to them, why they got into political office, and things that our ʻōpio can do to make an impact in their community right now. You don't need a title in order to make a difference. You just need to have an idea, grab some friends, and make it happen. We're so excited that you've decided to join us for this special episode. Mahalo.
I also want to acknowledge all the teachers in the building who have brought their students here.
Mahalo to all of you for being role models and educating our youth, making our neighborhoods safer and more resilient, rolling up your sleeves and doing the hard work and giving back in so many ways to the communities you love.
Talking. I see you hiding back there. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
I'm Kayla with Kealakehe High School Media, and introduce yourself, and did you know you were going to become a representative? How did you get to where you are today?
Aloha everyone, and aloha Kayla.
Hi.
My name is Sinead Capella. I represent House District 5 on the island of Hawaii. The district runs from South Kona, my hometown, in Captain Cook, or Kealakehe, running all the way around the southern half of the island to Keao Shipment Park, just outside of Hilo. You know, growing up, I wanted to be a ballet dancer. I didn't know that I was going to be a state representative. It's such a privilege to be able to be in this position and in this space. But growing up, I really just thought that I was going to be a dancer or a performer. I came to politics because I'm a former Miss Hawaii. My platform was on ending sex trafficking here in our state, so I wanted to be able to educate students on how to protect themselves, their family, and their friends. That brought me to the state legislature. And then from there, I realized that, hey, if we want to pass anything around human trafficking, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes we just need better lawmakers. And we also need younger lawmakers, and we need people who represent their communities. So that's one of the reasons why I ran for office.
Aloha, my name is Sue Keohokapu Liloi. I'm a House Representative for House District 2, which kind of encompasses what we know to be Hilo proper. I was on the water board, and at that time, the council member was terming out. And so a number of other members on the water board kind of went to the council member and said, hey, we've got this very talented, she asks great questions on the board, and I think she'd be a good fit. When I was in college, interned for our then mayor, Steve Yamashiro, and the council chairman, Kalani Shuti. And so I knew what the work was all about. So I wasn't really not ready. But the family said, no, let's try, let's do it. And so in 2016, I was elected to the county council, served for 8 years on the Hawaii County Council. And similarly, this position as a member of the state house, the representative was ready to retire. And so he said, hey, are you ready? Come on up.
My name is Christopher Todd, and my district encompasses most of Hawaiian homelands in Hilo, a little bit of Lower Waikea, Keaukaha, Panaewa. It goes through Keao and has everything between the two highways up through Ainaloa and Fern Acres. I grew up in Hilo, born and raised. My mom was a council member in the 90s, so I kind of grew up around politics, but wasn't super interested. And then I ended up working at Suisun Fish Market, which I think a lot of people knew me from there when I used to sell a lot of fish and poke and that kind of thing. Buy 1 pound, get 1 free. That was my thing. And then kind of fell backwards into politics at the beginning of 2017 and just been here ever since.
Aloha, I'm Senator Tim Richards from the Big Island of Hawaii. I am in District 4 which is basically the northern half of Big Island, stretching from Hilo through Hamakua, north-south Kohala, and down into North Kona. I am, by profession, I am a cattle rancher. I went away to school and became a veterinarian. And so for the last 40 plus years, I've been a veterinarian. About 10 years ago, I was approached by people in agriculture to become a voice for agriculture and speak on behalf of agriculture. I had no desire to be a politician, but agriculture kept pushing it, and they said, you know, Tim, everybody knows you, you're electable, would you please try? So that's what got me into county council. And then when the Senate seat came open, I seemed to be pretty successful at the county level, and that's what got me to the state level. I always tell people I am a veterinarian, cattle rancher, and an accidental politician.
Aloha, I'm Kristen Kahaloa. I am a representative representing parts of the District of Kona from Kailua Village all the way to Honaunau. In high school, I was in student government. I didn't realize that was maybe a pathway. And then in college, I was also in student government. So I think one of the pathways is getting involved in school. And I always wanted to know what students want and how to like make a good high school environment, or, you know, we used to plan dances and I don't know, blood drives and all these things that help kind of uplift and celebrate and build relationships amongst our class and our school. So I was all about school pride and school spirit. So I think some of this work is pride in Hawaii and creating laws and amending laws and making the life of all of our people in every community, not just the District of Kona, make it a good life, a vibrant life, something we can be proud of, and ensuring that what we know of Hawaii to be and those special things, that they stay special.
State Senator Lindy Coit, representing District 7. I chair economic development and tourism. I would have to say encouragement from my colleagues. I was appointed to the House. My former senator had left, and then the push from some of my colleagues here in the Senate was, you know, come on over. And took the challenge, was then appointed by Governor Ige for a second time.
Aloha, I'm Ron Kochi. I'm the Hawaiʻi State Senate President. I started at the Kauai County Council. I served on the Kauai County Council for 22 years. I served as an elected director of the Kauai Island Utility Cooperative, the electric cooperative on Kauai, and eventually in September of 2010 was appointed to the Senate because our senator had to resign to run for lieutenant governor, and then I got elected in 2010. Obviously, I had run quite a few times for public office as a council member or electric co-op director before I actually decided to run for a different office, which was the Hawaiʻi State Senate.
Senator, what are some issues or causes that you're here to advocate for today?
Well, one of the biggest causes and issues that I'm here to advocate for is to try to find the money for a new hospital in North Kona. We've been getting a ton of funds for the South Kona hospital, the main hospital, but I think it's necessary as our community is growing, expanding, that we need to provide all the healthcare services that our community will need. Especially, you know, I've been advocating for more services in our rural communities, and this is just going to be one of those appropriations that hopefully we can get the $50 million appropriation this year, $50 million next year, for the state's contribution to work with Queens on a new Kona hospital. So that's my main priority this year, and hopefully we can get that done.
The top priority would be to just make sure that we are continuing to support the most vulnerable in our community. There have been actions at the federal level that are removing some of the programs where they were getting access to food, the cost of health insurance, and if people don't have insurance, what will happen to children, especially if you have young children and you're not going to bring them into the doctor and get the health care that they need. They actually, in the long term, will wind up costing the state a lot more money if they aren't given the opportunity for proper nutrition or proper health treatment that would prevent outcomes that would be a lot worse.
My core responsibility is working out, along with my Senate counterpart, the state budget. So basically the way that works is the governor and his team and all the various state departments, they put in a draft of what the budget will be. Then I get my crack at it and we work together and figure out what the House draft is going to be. It goes to the Senate, we work out the differences, and then we send it to the governor, and that's the state budget. So a big part of my job is just focusing on that and making sure that we can afford to pay for our essential services, that our employees, that they have a stable foundation here and we don't need to disrupt employment or do things like furloughs for our schools. And then in addition, I think there's just broader goals of trying to make life a little bit better here, make it a little bit more affordable for local families. I think like most folks, a lot of my friends who I grew up with ended up leaving Hawaii because it's just hard to make ends meet. So anything we can do to make progress in that way, that's the big goal.
There's so many things we're advocating for, I think, right now with federal budget cuts. We have to figure out how to still do state services, especially the social welfare and social net services that government is used to doing. How do we maintain those things when the federal budget, helps us a lot? Like we get funding that helps move the needle for important things for our local community. So how we ensure we don't have to cut those services, I think, is going to be important. And I care a lot about ag and food systems. We have a vibrant farming and ag community on Hawaiʻi Island, whether it's ranching, whether it's coffee, mac nuts. There's just so many things we grow. I think there's opportunities to grow more of that and put that food in our school meals. That's something I've been passionate about for years. So that farm to school, focusing on how we can create more value-added product facilities is something the state is investing in as well.
Helping agriculture. I look at everything from an agricultural lens. Housing. We need workforce housing, ag workforce housing. For farmers and ranchers, we need access to land and water and tenure for that land and water. We also have to have good public policy that supports agriculture, supports education, supports housing. And so those are all the angles, again, coming back to the needs of the system.
So for me, tourism, in this case, we've diversified it into film tourism, sports tourism. I think from what we've had prior, it has not worked. We've learned a lot from COVID. I like the fact that film industry brings a lot of jobs. It also markets the state of Hawaii. And the fact that sports gets our youth involved. And when they like to play activities, they have to be required to do a great GPA. And I want them to be educated as well.
I'm Jared Kealakehe, and I'm the state senator for District 24, which is the windward side of Oahu. I think a really interesting one for everybody who's watching is the explosion of AI chatbot use across the country and in Hawaii. We had the parents of a 12-year-old girl, so that's a 7th grader, show us a transcript of a relationship that she ended up getting into with a bot on character.ai. So I've written a bill that proposes to define some of these new terms, chatbot AI versus companion AI. There's some terminology that we want people to learn about so that they understand what we're talking about. And then we want to put some guardrails on companies who are offering those apps in the Hawaii marketplace. They should have some sort of provision to make sure that young kids cannot access the program, and that people that are entering into chatbot romantic relationships are given disclosures that this is fake, that there are time limits, and all the sort of things that we're starting to learn about best practices for this technology.
My name is Amy Pruso. I represent House District 46, and that's basically Waipio Acres, Mililani area, all the way out to Kaena Point, and includes Wahiawa and Waialua. So I've been talking a lot today about a climate literacy bill that we're reintroducing this session. And it's one of many topics that we're addressing this session, but I think that I've been really gratified to see so many young people kind of picking up the mantle and really interested in organizing around that. So I'm really interested in bringing youth voice into our political process, and that's why we created the Keiki Caucus High School Legislative Internship, and that's why our office works with so many youth groups, because I really feel like this is their space for making laws and policies that will govern their future. And as a civics teacher, I really felt like that was the most important thing I could do. That was like my life's mission, and I feel honored and humbled to be able to kind of carry that work out even in the legislature.
I'm so privileged to be able to chair the House Committee on Culture and the Arts. One of the things that I absolutely love is, having been a performing artist, also having been a performing arts teacher, being able to now advocate for the expansion of performing arts education across our state, in our public schools, our charter schools, and for every keiki across the state and across this island. Especially for Hawaii Island, I represent a very rural community, and I want to make sure that youth in Hawaii Island have opportunities to be able to, whether it's play sports or go to acting class or do ballet, as I had the privilege of doing when I was younger, being able to have that opportunity is so important. I also have the privilege of chairing the Working Families Caucus, where we work on working families issues. So things from paid sick and family leave to this year we're working on RX Kids, which is a universal program for moms to be able to have direct payments in their last trimester all the way into their into like the first couple of weeks of their child's life, just to be able to support early development for children and to support young families. So we have a lot of working families issues that we're working on, and this year one of the things we're working on as well is tax fairness and tax justice. We are facing a $3 billion state budget shortfall, and one of the things we want to make sure is that we're trying to find ways to plug the gaps that are being left by the federal government.
What is your vision for the future of our state?
I think we are at a very pivotal moment. There's definitely a lot of stressors, high cost of living, families moving away because they can't afford it here, whether it's housing, medical insurance, or opportunities to find a good job. For me and the position that I have, I currently serve as the Vice Chair for the Committee on Health. This year, we have an opportunity to access funds through the Rural Transformative Healthcare Grant. We'll be receiving $180 million every year for the next 5 years, which will be $1 billion into our state and into our economy. That would allow healthcare professionals to really access those funds and help improve the health and quality of life for everyone in our rural areas.
Success. And when we're talking about success, that's several levels. We have to have financial success, we have to have environmental success, we have to have educational success, and we have to have the securities that all societies need. Food, shelter, and when I say security, I'm talking about health security, the true security is police and all that. So we need the needs of society. So we have to look at investing in ourselves for the future. So we have to work on the economy, work on housing, work on education, all of that, because we can do it. My my angle is agriculture, and I love agriculture, and I think we can really ramp up in that area to help us out.
We know we need to help, low-income, middle-income families. We know we need to do more to help Native Hawaiians in particular. We're going to have really substantial legislation this year to reduce the wait list and just find permanent, recurring funding for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands so that they can build out their projects and really start to actually make real progress for the first time in a long time. So it feels like we're on the cusp of some really cool things. We just got to deliver and do our jobs.
Well, the vision is really somewhere where graduating students are choosing to stay at. And it could be graduating from college. I realize that after you get done with high school, you may want to see what's out in the world. And it's my hope in the vision that once you go out into the world, you realize that we live in the greatest place on earth. But obviously, we need to create economy, jobs that pay well so that you could get value for your skill that you have when you join the workforce. And clearly the biggest hurdle we're facing now is having housing that's affordable, whether to own and purchase or to get a starter rental to get you going, to help you start saving money toward that home purchase. And if the rents are just too high, then there's no way you can start putting money on the side, and home ownership does not become a reality of what you envisioned. And my vision is there's a path for people to eventually become homeowners and stay here.
How can other young people take action or get involved?
What's really important is for people to organize together, to come together and hui up. And sometimes it's just as important to follow as it is to lead. So to be part of an organization that pushes for something that benefits everyone is sometimes the most powerful thing you can do. And for them to learn how to navigate this political scene in a way that builds their resilience, builds their capacity, and builds their collective strength.
Volunteer wherever you can. Take the opportunity of the door opens for internships at the state capitol, the county council. I think government is where things happen and your voices will be heard loud and clear. Take every opportunity you can. Community service is what it's about. I think that's the best way you can help your community and your voice can be heard.
Our lived experiences bring us so much strength, and your voice is so needed. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. Just go and do it.
I think any high school student, especially if they're juniors or seniors, anybody can participate in the legislative process. So helping people understand, you can look at bills and then you can submit testimony. I think getting people involved in the legislative process, and hopefully then that will make people want to also run for office. You literally only have to be an adult and a Hawaii resident to run for office. So how do we engage people in government? And so we want all ages and all mindsets and all generations to be part of this legislative process, because everything we do impacts everybody at all ages that live here.
You need to use your voice, and you need to let people know about the things that you find to be important.
You don't have to have a position or a title. Just get out there and do it. It's really a network and a fabric of community. And as you get older, it's those relationships and that network that you build when you just get out there and do it.
Understand what kind of policy you want to do and start talking to us, because I'm not going to be here forever. Let's start worrying about the next generation. And that's why I said it to you earlier, young people take precedence. I will talk to you and I will bump a meeting with the governor. I will bump a meeting with lieutenant governor. I will bump a meeting with other senators to talk to young people, because someone's got to replace me in years to come. And who that person is your generation.
We're going to need a lot of creativity, a lot of kind of good, fresh ideas. Some of it's as simple as just getting out there and being with other people. But I think beyond that, I think, you know, most of us up here at the state legislature or at the county council, we're very easy to access. You know, we're at the grocery store, we're a phone call away. You know, if you feel the need to really make yourself heard, please do so, and volunteer when the time comes, and just be there and be a part of the solution, because I think we're going to need more of that than ever before.
What is your vision for the state to support creative media to grow local jobs, support local storytelling, and diversify our economy?
So of course, I was very inspired. I think you guys have done an awesome job at Lēo TV. You guys set a great example. Some of the things that we've done, we've looked at legislation last year. The priority was the tax credit and lifting the cap. And I think by you guys being here, it allows the education process for those that don't understand that the youth in the next generation are all tech savvy. They're getting involved in having clean media as well as film industry to portray messages, I think will set us aside from the rest.
Well, I think everyone in the community should be able, you know, to find local community information on TV. That's the biggest thing. And local faces and local voices should be on TV as well. So, I mean, you know how famous you're about to get because you're on TV. And so when I was growing up, it was a huge deal when a sports team won or when someone's family member was on TV. And, you know, local people should have access to that, and we should be able to see each other.
You have the ability to do a great kind of content to present it, but with the, I guess, quality of the phones and the phone cameras, if you have a smartphone, you can be a content creator. And, you know, in sharing that voice, then you can have say in what is going to happen in your future.
Media is really important. Now people say whether they like or want to support a bill or dislike or don't want you to support a bill. And anyone individually can just make any kind of media, whether it's just a social media post or a whole production of video or just slides of like, here, support this bill and here's why, and there's 4 slides that give reasoning. People share that, people encourage that. Media that's created through the DOE at all the schools, we really appreciate that, and we do try to watch it. Media is powerful and youth voices are powerful. So if more youth could marry those things together in positive ways, that would be great.
We hope you enjoyed this special episode of the 2026 opening day. From everyone at Lēo TV and Kealakehe High School and Evalu Industries, create Hawaii. Mahalo nui!
Mm-hmm.